exhibition time, we always had outdoor events in the grandstand back in the 60s. And I remember my first recollection, and I probably was about 5 or 6, being at that grandstand. And it probably was a Saturday night because it would have been the crowning of the Queen. And there was a mass pipe and drum demonstration. And they led in the group. And what was really neat about it, Amy, was that it rained that night, and good old September, it was foggy. Well, what I heard was bagpipes. When I started out in piping, and that would have been back in the early 70s, girl pipe bands were a huge part of our scene here locally. At that time, in the 70s, we didn't have all kinds of things to do, boys or girls. Parents said you did one activity and that was it. We really jumped on board, and so you had large pipe bands. You would have 25 to 30 members in the pipe band. Actually, the pipe band scene in Pictou County it's changed, the dynamic has changed, but we have the same number of pipe bands. We have a different demographic. Our members many of the members who were playing in the 70s are about playing. We have a lot of adult learners who are playing now, and so the youth core is changed. Piping as well as drumming. I mean, anyone who plays musical instruments, it's an emotional attachment. For many of us who have continued to play, and with the group that I was with as a piper in the 70s, there are 2 pipers that I know of, they're still piping. So why do 2 of us keep going? There's a camaraderie, there's a motivation, there's a love of the music. For myself, my motivation when I returned to teach piping at the Heatherbells 20 years ago was that my daughter signed up. She was 8.5 years old, and she signed up to play bagpipes. And I've stayed with them, and I will finish my 20th year in June. Piping should be in our schools. Drumming should be in our schools. It should be part of our school's curriculum. We have instructors who live in our province, who are teachers, who can transfer those skills in a class to introduce music, and your Scottish music in your classroom is important. We need to encourage that music because it is something that is important from our tourism perspective, it's important from a community perspective and our arts and cultural perspective, and it's fun. It's another way of expressing oneself.